So just let me repeat, thank you everybody for coming that's present with the Zoom right now, and those that are joining us on YouTube. Thank you all very much. If you have any questions anytime, you can reach out to us through Buddha Practice Study at gmail.com. So Alex has had his hand up and had a question or a comment. Alex, and you're muted, so we can't hear you. There you
Can
are.
I ask my question?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had some issues with audio, but um, maybe we already covered this, but if you could, if Geshe could kindly iterate maybe one more time, how do we, like, in what spirit do we take these instructions or these pearls of wisdom, um, like is that something that an ideal bodhisattva uh, would be adhering to, or is it more like something that each person would want to do to perfect themselves to become a bodhisattva? Uh, or is it something that if somebody were to be named as bodhisattva, they will never like break this, you know, kind of precept uh, for conduct. So
Okay.
maybe some clarification on that, like how.
Should we be able to translate that for Geshe-la?
genshi dik kandi shudu yaguji komas dile kare tandang arangsu laglen dige di ngos da su laglen shidu zamba dikshi di kangla ya gejarash tidu jeba ki zui ro jigara
re re ate pe te yaporda anzo jase shanju sembe lane te so de cheala tambo nganzo igen gon ma leon de zamane tanjo ko mulu rumbo che za chenbo sonya soso ko mulu de rinthang chenbo de pesho kawa tang go mo go pesho de tang wala shawa ngemba la chaya chine chimba la hencha chewe je ne de so pa shawa papa de so pa dorya de so pa dor je ne wemba tenya tenba zama che tropo yapo ta chi suso gu dunde be shawa zambo ta duya la tropo yapo ta the guya ane tende ko la shawa ngemba panya o tende ki chane ane gege yapo tenya ngune thane lam tik thapa da thanje che be gomba le ya jase shanju sembe lane la pa lab shinge ki tende ki gege tamba ten guya tende ko lo son so te so son di cha che zang ngan 신용 그 랑가다 보지 domro 보지 지 문투숑 가진 바체 계산마 까네 튠진 그 춘도 현 튠비쇼 그 젠사마 주 송조로 보지 레스
just gong is my Wi-Fi good? Can you guys hear me like Lancer?
Yes, we can hear him. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Are you having trouble seeing and hearing, Geshe?
Uh, he froze for a while, so I thought, did it happen like, or was it only on my end?
Maybe just on your end.
Oh,
My end it was fine.
mm-hmm. All right. Alex, to Alex's, Gishi stated that not sure if this goes like if this is according to your question, but since like from the beginning, like the practices of the bodhisattvas, from the first was like how we talk about being unfortunate over like having this human life, and then from the verses it begins like leaving the homeland, and then meeting good friends, and then being able to like keep on the right track by able to have all these practices like in a good way, that's how like a person should be disciplined in a way where everything would be in the right track, like that way. So from the first verse, it talks about like the fortunate of being a human life, and then all these things. Yeah.
다 거기 최장한서 this 송고에 지레 상부도 내상 쇼쇼 제바나 거기 땅아랑서 자세 상주선배 랑라 러바다 랑 냐네 제바이나 근데 니샤 투지를 간데스 제고래 세한다고지 수소그 팀러지 송네 니마 찔러 차진다고 간데 제고래 세한다고 든데다고지 송고여 바이나 안에 만초 단다 좁아나 이게 상지 춘소선에 담보 수소를 끊는데 야보데 인지메지 고그레스 샴추 그 생름 버체게 만초게 자세 샹추 셈벨랑 랑이 임바 송자 타이베 마게 셈제 탐지 게 체돌라 다 상지 주 공파 두고 삼사지 데그 로디 인지메지 담자데 땡보지 데 모두 치다 들어와 데 담자데야 땡보지 예비 그 토네 대 당자데 망기 심비 토네 아나 당에 자시 상주 셈베 랑라 마기 생제 탐제게 체도 상제조 공파 두테 두발라 아나 자시 상주 셈비 조발라 러고군도 산 다 조발라 랍당거 림바다데 마손 아나 짐바다 추팅다 조바다 쫀주 삼데 히라라 러고 삼네테 니마 레레 나노라 차진 추즈 체가 땅투고야 나레 지 땅투고야 나레 효케르 땅기나 까마 쥐앙아스 땅나레 곤다 까마 쥐앙아스 땅네 고샤 자고야 나레 텐데체네 차진 이제 소소 그 daily routine de yapojin rotona ne pe mesi phen thobo hiores tema to dawachil hota pata che teni chi yu ya ya teni ne jel chi che che bai na phen da thog re de yina ya chi ne le kheban ro chi rothuk mara sango dus Duswa
Dix, looks like my internet connection is kind of unstable. Sorry, let me move around. Okay, probably Alex must be referring like how to do the 37 practices like daily, like the Bodhisattva practices daily, how we will be able to practice them. Just like our dedication prayer before starting our session, we were hoping like we were praying like hoping for the sake of all sentient beings, then like setting up that bodhicitta mind as the base of our practice is really very important. And then along with that, we should be able to practice the 6 parameters, the generosity, and then the patience, the discipline, and all the things. And then try to practice this way like daily, like start practicing at 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 in the evening, or maybe like half an hour each day, like do it in a continuous manner so that it would become like adapted to you as a hobby thing. Now like for a month you'll be able to do it like in a really good way, like a straight, but then the next month if you keep a gap then it won't be able to. So try to do it like a continuous way so that the practices would stick with you.
아니 맞지 휘에 셔마지 안서 샴추 셈게 랑라 로종 세난다 파르도 심바 둘라 로종 세난다 덴데 제와라 인지미지 최강지나 유네랑 제고야 예바 개요 마레스 소소 모터는 로디 잠바데 이 템포레기도나야 삼노타여레 모터 까네야 트래픽이 덴데 유르보 하디 잠바네 야 삼노타여레스 데서 참망안서 셈게 로종 따단 루레스 데 멤버지야 소소 데데와 레간데 젠 쇼로 구구에 차스나 덴데칼 삼노탄데네 디그레 야나 데 멤베 센제 냠타바다 네수 양세버던데 태야 네도 통해라부터 종선나 데칼라 덴데 삼노타나야 khatu khayo layo la tata chin rogre samsa tenga dus.
Another thing to add is practicing or studying the 37 practices or the 6 parameters. We can try to do it like we don't have to do it in a temple or like in a really like how in a temple or such way, because we can try to practice this sometimes when you are in the traffic or when you wait around, or sometimes even when you encounter right certain situations. At that time, if you could like be able to think in a Bodhisattva way or like that, then that would be really helpful to our daily lives.
Dan dodini shena nganso jase langne sodun lojong chenge mitege shenyong ge chane ndro na ya jase langne sodun yonge ndu na ya jase langne sodun yonge nye na ya jase lan nye khala sano tagaran tanin do ben chengang khona gewi cho cha no gre nye na ya jase langne go sodun yonge ana chi sa kawala le na ya langne sodun yonge tende chi che thoro chena ana pe misi chi boda tende yo sares.
Basically, us studying the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas, as long as we are able to like think about these practices, or at least be able to like think about them before going to bed, or like while you're on your bed. So all these things, like the thoughts and all these things, would be considered as a virtue act, and it would be really helpful to you. And also, while you are thinking about this, the outcome would be happiness, which we all are looking for.
Tende no bajin do din shuna tik shuna nganso jengen da wada garin da wada ne tang gari ju chungba ina ya so so la mane wa yen la mane te che do nga da jase lanle so din go lojong chingi ji yin as an te la an jamchen chingi ji yin samsa te ge temba de yobi ge thone che tu ba ina an kange gari ina chasan la donle che tu ya da ran za ma se yen pen to do ya tendi yung go sa res.
Another thing I believe is whatever situation or anything.
Langshan just locked up. All right, is everybody else? Yangshin, we just lost you for about 30 seconds.
Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know the internet.
It must
I
be
thought
the
Gishi's
equinox.
Wi-Fi was not working. Mine's worse.
It must be the equinox.
Sorry. Can you guys hear me better?
We can hear you now, yes.
Okay. On this verse, Gishi was saying like whatever like situations we encountered, not harming yourself and not harming the other ones. The best way is thinking about the 37 practices, so that as long as you, since we are learning these practices, so if we could think about them, then that would be really helpful. Like that would help ourselves, and then it won't harm others.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be all from his end.
Alex Tuadina Tata and Roy Roya that Condi Tendena was a huge and strong was around.
Hope this had somehow like answered Alex's question or his comment.
Yes, thank you very much. I now better understand that it is not something that we judge ourselves or others by some sort of standard, but it's something that we want to continuously keep as a reminder ourselves to keep perfecting our being into the Bodhisattva. If you think I understand it right, let me know.
Gishla disons kongi dadi ngarang so gi mission ba chigla a chidang digi dum dulen ta de shara chi just la ni che sha de do di mai ba chi yang si ngarang so le ya ten su do di reshas.
Adin che tanda Alex somba na shi ke nge kadu na sano kar tang ye sena nganso ke mil shuso ko che tang da wo ji yora mi gi chi che ge do che ge men do ni che ge do se de te yana kesi che pa ina ne phama pugul judo che wa na shi chi che tu go do hasan nan da to ne phege de chi zo chue tang juwa ta ko chi phen to yu ya ge che Te mayin ba che ne te chiso kecha kanju manju she de te so sama te peme che ne che ngarang so nganche la ya de o chi daga zu deme ki kecha na bu chi cha no bu te mayin ba che so so rang ki so che de so so ga tang go ba son ali ki son ba na hi daga rang de re de khas ja cha ja tu ji che
Thank you, Alex. Just like you stated, since we are all social animals, and then there is like a community which we always encounter, and then the community kind of judges a lot, like in a way. So I really wish like the judgmentals should be like how our parents judging their kids, and then in a way advise them, hoping that they would improve, or like for the sake of the kids, they are judging, right? Just like how our parents does to their kids. So hoping like in all our societies and communities, if it's like that way, that would be really great. So thank you, Alex, like how you mentioned.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll have some more time at the conclusion to draw, some ideas together about practice and so on like that. So um, let's proceed, if we can, with the next group of the points here. So number 31 through number 35. So I will recite these. Let me see if I can screen share these quickly. One more second here. It's another little. Okay. So 31. So this group, I've been labeling these groups, for my own study, and maybe you've taken that up and looked at it your own way and been able to label these different points as something that means something to you. But these last five, or this 31 through 35, to me are things to beware of. So we've gone through the six paramitas and so on, and now these are 5 points to beware of. So I'll recite these, and then Geshe will give his commentary on this. So 31. If having merely the appearance of a practitioner, one does not investigate one's own mistakes, it is possible to act contrary to the Dharma. Therefore, constantly examining one's own errors and abandoning them is the Bodhisattva's practice. Number 32. If influenced by disturbing emotions, one points out another Bodhisattva's faults, oneself is diminished. Therefore, not speaking about the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle is the Bodhisattva's practice. Number 33. Because the influence of gain and respect causes quarreling and the decline of activities of listening, pondering, and meditation, to abandon attachment to the householders of friends, to the households of friends, relations, and benefactors is the Bodhisattva's practice. Number 34. Because harsh words disturb others' minds and cause the Bodhisattva's conduct to deteriorate, abandoning harsh speech, which is unpleasant to others, is the Bodhisattva's practice. When disturbing emotions are habituated, it is difficult to overcome them with antidotes. By arming oneself with the antidotal weapon of mindfulness to destroy disturbing emotions such as desire the moment they first arise is the Bodhisattva's practice. So, Geshe, when you're ready, please, if you would give a talk on this, would be very, very good, and then we can ask some questions and have discussion.
Yeah, have so much. Toche. Rangi Toa, Rangi Matana, Chupi Zuchi, Chumi JCP, Deshi Jundo Rangi Toa la Tane Pon, Jasela Lin, Tesondoa. Tati Chezan Tanda Brother Landscape, Tenema, Jenny, and Sholokanga, Jobarwata, Injitone. 대 제원데 당안소 가르송세나 강한테네래 파신 주대 냐네 제고레스 파신 주그 나로네 혈그 파신데 냐네 제 마투나 아나 자세 찬주 셈베게 토고에 상제데 공파인 바송사 대토투고 말에서는 세보송소아 다 덴데게 줍댕에다 덴데게 로종 제딩에 머지 임바이나 다디 송데 오라다 대슈 준도 랑기 초와라스 마다 랑기 초와 랑기 마타나 송소아 다 로종 쟁에 자세 창주 셈베게 람라 람게 텐다 베테소게 아네 준도 아네 랑라 논추 가르 제게도 랑기 산노 가르 코그도 자세 창주 셈베 랑라 레그도다 로기 민도 테소 준도 아네 소소게 야마 제루 제당 아네 랑기 르가 예송 그 샤죠 테소로 랑기 준도네 아네 따지 제 고레 송거 대 따지 마제 바이나 monkey mind lagdwa khonzo ke te sem de kanju manju tang sha ba yina ane chepe ke zu da waje chepa ge min da waje ke je ne chepa mai be shawan raminda de jesi ge res dende jesi ba yimba sonza tremba da hegin bayo de so ke go ne jun do rang ke go lunga yesu go song ge shawala ane tagi je ne non thu je wa de yu chung so na khatu pa 뻥고레스 때 뻥토와이나 자세 상주 셈벨란에 따다 지게 따레스 다 담보데 되셔요.
So the 31st verse, Brother Lansla had recited that one, and then the previous verse states that in order for gaining liberation, among the 6 paramitas, the wisdom, like cultivation, it highlights like the importance of cultivating wisdom. So that's how it leads to the right path, right? So similarly, when we comes to the coming to the 31st verse, where it says like the importance in like examining your own self, so that you would be able to see your own mistakes, and then if you don't look on your own actions and then mistakes, and then if you take the name like I am a like practitioner, and then by using the name, and if you don't act in a good way, that could be like really, your action could be really harmful to everyone all around. So it's really important to look at yourself and then examine your own mistakes, and then if you think it's a mistake, then you should get rid of those bad acts and everything. So being able to having like a stable mind is really important.
잠깐만. 대가는가 녀비지 가르쳐요. 요새나 단다 수소고 논주 수소고 따제 제네 논춘두다 문두제네 신주 야부 제딩에 뭐지 임바이나 단다기 측간 대기 자세라네 그 자세 상주세 belane 주어와 네 제딩에 뭐지 임바이나 뭐인가 랑라 쥐쥐바이나 라니 롱랑가 말레스 뭐인가 랑라 쥐 체충 간데지 두링 엔서난소 간데지 러용바이나야 롱랑가 찹텔라 담보텔라 소소가 파효가 소소로 쥐쥐온지 쥐응은 두에 문두 따야 된다 지체 쥐은 두바이나네 오 공이 쥐야 보던 가랑 거 마통에 쥐야 보던 데지 통로 제수 디펜토송산에 파효텔라 기위히니는 또 했다야 지체 아니 게시 소소로 쥐는데 문두와 상산다 중바이나 콩알 쥐 줘서 때 나가라 따바이네 나라 쥐는데 문두산에 가발래 지체 던데지 레온데 던데기 단단디 자생란레 디 랑기 초와 랑기 히부 따딩에 메토서 임바이나 이겐게 야마 츠츠볼라나 잠볼라나 던데기 야 쳇반로 마레스 티 코르소소 따따티 간 로토야기 대 쳇바 첨보지요 사상사 땡거도스.
Another thing to add is examining your own mistakes. Like if you are somebody who really does this practice in your daily life, that would be like how if someone else is criticizing you yourself, like for something, then it won't really affect you, because you are someone who always like examine your own self on your mistakes and stuff, right? So if someone else is criticizing you, either one way you would take it as like you would double check on yourself, right? You won't simply take it because you would determine whether you are doing that, if it's really a critic, like if you're really doing it. If yes, if you're really doing that, then you would appreciate the other person for pointing it out, and then may consider himself as a teacher, right? Because he pointed out like some bad habit of yours, so you would be grateful, and then in a like a good manner, you would be able to accept it. And then if you think like you are not doing whatever critic he is applying, then you would be glad, right? Because you are not doing that, you just checked. So this would be like, as long as you are a practitioner of this verse, then like that's really important, and then you will be like good at taking critics and everything.
Ando yango lapa tiendo chi khya kariyo sena. Desho jundu rangi chowa la tani pongwa jase lana yin siya de chö dan jiten kawani xeba yina tan dippe misi nyanga chenpo hiware sangu dos. Jiten ko toni xeba yina ya lo juni chokson juye ta lo choje le sana ta achanjarwa. Tene ne susu mitse langa kawan ro mando di susu lu tulu kuduwas. Den namki ke chö yang tapa chinge ji yinba yina wone chane susu ke seng zocho de susu rang tanya zo chekyo de. Gegen ke langde jiare mato susu rangi zogu yo ba songzang. Tende yinba songzang deshi jundu rangi chowala daje jegore dane nonchu jongso na bongore se tende rinlangu toni heba ina ta dada negu yores ngoyo nechu da heba ina dada negu yores ne.
Also, another important thing to add is whether it is like in a religious way or something like in your daily life. As long it's more like when you hit the age, like at the age of 18, you need to do everything on your own, right? So it's really very, very important to like always examining your own mistakes, and then if you think it's a bad habit, getting rid of it, and then that's how you will improve. So this verse is not just like applicable to our like in the like a religious way, like a dharma way, or even in the daily life, like that would be also really helpful.
Nga di kasang nga rang su goyo ne su da tumbik toni pension ji huya yos nga gecha de la nang hiun ro songs gecha di ngoyo da tumban ro chi. Kasang kari lagu do sena kanda arigi me kera chenpo hen rungi di kera chenpo lagu hiun arigi kanda shucho ka chanam ki gecha hiengi me de hen ro di kogi jime di gecha di kari hiegi do sena pege me sengi di Korang kari chegi yo me de korang ha goge yo maris. De ha goge me ba songza nge kolo zogon chegi yo se geja hege dos. O de zon ra wo chene kari nganso ngone tane suso kari chegi yo me de suso ma hie de yungare de yimba songza ngarang chu suso kari cheme de suso ka yang ta pa chegi yo ta chwa chegi yo ta de suso ka ta je chegi se de geja de chedin hibu res.
Su chong re khande le ko sumas.
That tendage la den digo nge la njo de ari gi tanda di so karse shitso ge tanglang ge jeju pa tanda ma kya da chambo ji menda jen se so ngo ti sen ro de zamane ti nyangye ge zego chi de zamane jime de ge kecha de tanda shi ge da nge sho ji ha go ya jen 땡이 되게 코랑 그 가르치기 위해서 코랑 하고 그 말에서 땅이 초가 생이 되는 게 조금 지기 위해서는 된다라고도 먹게. 어디 깨차대 깨차 로켓이야 연조다시.
Okay. Another example is recently the entertainer who passed away, and then like during his grievance, his wife's speech, like where she was saying like she really liked the way she stated, like she is having no grudge over the one who had murdered her husband, because he really doesn't know like the other opponent, like he doesn't know what he's acting. So which is why she's able to like forgive him for his bad deed. So he was like the way her speech, and then like the way of her thinking, that really like he really liked it.
The
way she implied patience, and then like tolerance over, and then the way she forgave him, That was really great.
Oh yeah, that is on the teacher. Then they imbason the Chezang Anzoki, Suso, Karachigo, met the Samsung Winnie Hakugo Maris. She non to Janjan Chen Yawachi Chedi Sansanda. Then they imbason Aranzo, Nonjo Tata Jehe and Manova Tatakan Rugundo, Suso Taji Chia, the Winnie package and wings arrest. And that this on the Goresni Ranga Troala. They should. Wala said Nimachi but Nima but Tapareshi Shawa Karachi Chena Tatare here and do some Chede.
Just like that, we really don't know, like sometimes in our daily life, like what we do, like whether it's causing harm to others and stuff. So it's really very important to keep examining your own mistakes and then your own actions and everything. So over here, the verse 31, it states like always examine, right? How it highlights the always one. So it's really important to keep trying, like keep checking on your own mistakes and everything. So that would be really helpful in improving yourself.
But then Nimba the Karashia and Shambanji, did you hear it on the day? But Numungi Jase Yanda Geserva, Tangite Susoki Susola Taji Chegures, Susogu no and Chua Chegadona Katukatu Pangures here there were. That did anybody knew one get Jase Shandaki, Nepalena, Lina, Dani, Nyanju Sonroa. That ange brother Alex Kitson son, didn't rubber in the Soso Numu Tosung Tundewache, Mahi Pata, Manton, Mahi Hindo, Manton Tondo, Manjun Jondo Chia Jorwa. Then they Jene and Jase Shanju Semba Shandala, Jun Mena, Jun Taya. 卷馒头呢也卷大呀，卷门头呢也卷绝呀，等等的我结巴人呢，怕学不了那样个差不了，叔叔个绝了，那我那场呢落到黑了，等等的为第是哑巴的是研究的说他们嘛娘住个意思，等等人把送葬，太不切了就被刚才给你把妈妈家些哪里人是的，接不当不了。卷的绝嘛的嘛都卷绝把那叔叔个云的娘个就能做个意思，得送个意思。我那假设想就生把得做给让来呀，特别个假设想就生把了卷绝得起来要嘛意思。
And then the 31st verse, it talks about how importance of examining like your own errors and getting rid of them. And then coming to the 32nd verse, it talks about with the influence of the negative emotions, if you point out like faults or like errors of the other bodhisattvas, then rather than harming them, like since you are criticizing another one, it's more like an act of harm, right, to the other person. But rather than harming the other one, this would like your action would like lower your own wisdom level, and then you would become like really like a small. So it's really very important not to like point out the faults of other bodhisattvas because of the influence of those like negative emotions like jealousy and then the pride and egos and all these bad ones.
Oh, dear, that delay on to two among which legaries, Chanamba, so Penje to Sayamagidi, Naran so Pel Chasha Bina, Ya Lamata, Komata, Sola, Jun Yo Chogo Marwe, Jun Keja Trichogo Marwe, Todan Ranya Marwes, Tendikeja the Penje Lendo Cabares.
And then with this words like stating not to like point out the faults of another bodhisattva, this might raise questions to you guys like how the other lamas and then other great scholars, they might have mistakes and then stuff, right? Are you guys like the questions like are we not supposed to point it out? This could raise.
Dacha Tumba Haja to Bakurang Garson Garrison, Seje Davi Segum, the Lepatalang Aikasine, Nik Sonla, Taji, Niki Bicata, La Tajuches, Nala Tajuch and Son Yaris, Tajuchun Chemocho, Ticket at the Maris. to so go tambo ta du zaman nyomo to sung go dongje ne phakyo del dungje nang hi ji tar je ne tambo ni ne khorane phakyo de kecha chama de garse gure dukja janja suesha tende sue ma hela yores yapo tar je ne ane mihi sa da mago sa da o di kandri na samsan dura toba jacha jacha chogres te hin de be tone ti gunho da be tone tende ke tone te gures.
Okay, and then Lord Buddha himself had stated that like you all can examine like my teachings, and then you can look into it deeply, and then raise those questions if you have, not like going into like the bad way, with a good intention, like good intention and mind, and then look into my teachings deeply, and then if you have questions you can always ask.
Tadi nipa de terda shaman de nipa se chwa de ngalon so sholuka tanda de ma chimbe ke somba de sonju so somba de mero benje ni ko wang ke pinchu zhen ju hin tyo sang gong be xiao nyang ju we za he chim da jing da ching na la cha bo mo ja se la le yin se da mi se ngan so cha ba la song jo res de ana ngan so lo jong jing e cha song la san no dang cho res de ga re se na nganzo traba singe de shetang se sonyo ba se de zaman jingda da mene yang pyu ni ge de so ge de saya re ma to ji ge so so ge chong de ge yo ma re chong khang zu ge yo ma re ya mi se ge de ba la chi khamba jagan da ba da tende le kan ro go ma re chue chang chang che de zaman saya tong ya chama de me ge ya de yo ge pyu jo de ne rang sa ne de che ge yo res de je ge yo re de 수소고 조고 자체제지 돌로데 지 마차제 리체제지 되사 컴바데 리체제지 등리지긴 지구를 마또 지게 칭바 만나나 이 제트다 제볼 등리 자 제볼 가와 제바이나 아니 미니니고 되게 왕게 될 가지네 될 감지네 되게 왕게 지 난주 칭바 만나나 이 추제 효야다 저바 용해 등리 용거레스 등리레서나 퇴상 공성게 로드 조에 냠로 그레스 퇴상 공소를 휴에그 뒤쳐대야 뉴런로 가리나 차상 중라인 그레스 근데 임바 송장 징달라 히부 가보제야다 니고라 히부 가보제 근데 마제 대소라 현사데 방선 송거레스.
And then coming to the 33rd verse, that is mainly for us, the monks, because we are like monks are the people who take the offerings, right? And then therefore, whenever like we are offered with any food or any kind of offerings, we should be satisfied with it. If we get too much attached towards the household of like the relations and then the friends and then within those things, if we get too much attached over these things, then we then stuffs like fighting over and then how do we say, like a small fights, and then it would raise like all such things, right? So which is why we should give up being attached towards these household things, and then that's how it would lead so like this is a practice.
Oh yeah, 근데 인도 가서 잡아를 빼는 가르송 게르세나 도와 나로 차게 난다 냠네 징에게 시부 담바데서 그 송게 난다 가르송 게르세나 니고 녜오 장지 초바 파피리스 선용 녜오 장지 초바 파피리스 뽕와다 곰발 가위피 ane 파피리스네 파피리스 송 예 단다지 송 요레스 고쳐세 베나 니고 녜오 장지 초바스데 머네야 니고 jinda ge teora teonde zambani ndri zangji teba degi ta susolo tata re de yo asamsa tendegi ingore sigores ana saya tonya tiri de ndri zangji teso na kwaya da de sori ndri zangji teso na tagarang ge chode samsa zo gaya de karesana nyumo pa ponya ta samde goya la gading tanda gugore songores.
And also monks are being like classified or being explained as someone who should be satisfied with the minimum like offerings, like minimum food, minimum clothing, minimum house and stuff. We should be like monks should be certain beings who should be really happy in practicing the Dharma rather than like being. So they should be someone who should be satisfied with like everything in a really minimal way, like a minimalist.
Oh, that the that the Oma the Terra Dashamanja. That Zumutsiki Yensim Trumjo Hins, Javisi Jojo Nyam Jovi, they say Yenji Yito Mumi, Tsuzupo, Jase Lali in Sabitambane. That can't let Yenga Nepa Mamas la Sonsoa. Tarin dig Karsena, Yenga, Shetang, joined to some Majo Mase. Kashi Tsingimba the Lay or that Jack. Lumba Kawayina Tsingimba loved the Lusuji do a Tsinam Tsubo turned at that Tendi read the Joju Amaris. Joju maybe Johnson de Karesana Parupogi Yensen Truguduas Tsingimba Joba in a Yank same Truguduas Yensk same true Jogre, Sosoga Jula Jasi Sancho Sembig Jolam Dravata, Josun Dravata, Nyamlendo, Tesoyana, Tesoma Nyamdugres. Tendi imba Sonsan. Yenga Anjola Yidu Mo, Tsingimba de Sodiana, Pa Bongores, that the Demba Hivres. They Sehu Karaha person, a Susolo Tsingimba Joson, a Susolo Soa Cardo, Telestano Tanjin, Yen Patsingimba de Lamaloy, Getcha Karahi Guna, Hinjambo Guni here, Gued, Pemsi Ketchambres.
And then coming to the 34th verse, the practice of all bodhisattvas is to avoid harsh words, right? Because these because if we start because these harsh words that could really upset the mind of the other person who is listening to it, right? So it's really important to avoid using these like the abusive languages or the harsh words, because instead of this, you can try understand this by keeping this to yourself. If you hear someone using a really harsh word to yourself, you won't be happy, right? You will get angry. So this is really disturbing your own mind. So which is why the practice of bodhisattva is to avoid using harsh words so that it won't harm others and then as well as yourself.
Oh, yeah. That in that the water. Nyumu Kona Nimpi Doka we songrwa. Tangaranso te le tambo wala songo yores, Tangaranso Jase Shanju Sembe, Lane Cheding, Lane Kading, Janta Jean Kimbe, the Sola. The Sola Karisana, Nyumu tela comba chelo mares, Nyumu tela comba chesuaina, Nyumu di ya pendoni, and then Nyembo Chunchun Tinroka Pa Dogona Dog Kalikabuchano res. Tende yimba sonza nyumu senge te tambo ni je undi korane, chungchung je undi korane, ane tenpa ta higin te soko o ta nyumu je do chege doa, chungchung ji je yungo doa, kongro je tambo lesa ke hizan rawa ji leso na ngala kongro lege yorta, ledo chege yorta samne, tambo nine pa dacha inare, kongro inare, tambo nine ngo tsudo je dine pa kasha gore lagu yores, ta mburjong je pa jase lale yin se de. Tambo Jema Tasede, Chunchunji Jeund, Gozu in the Katu Grace. De Maimbachi Cher Rosona, Mechembo Show at the Chuchembo Lua Nanshi Jen and Dokabu Chagores.
And then coming to the 35th verse, that is mainly for beginners who are starting the practices. So over here it says it's really important how we should be able to stop the moment all these negative emotions when they come into action, and when they start to taking control of you, you should be able to stop them the moment they rise. Otherwise it would turn into a big flood. Everything would come in a high level. So it's really important from the moment when they are in that a tiny moment, and then if you could be able to stop that small anger, then that would really help in avoiding more harms. So we should be able to stop at the very moment when the negative emotions when they are arising.
The tending inside the song those that Naranso 공나 니비 도까 위에 송로와라 담보 제운데 뺀나 차샤바는 건서 아라 마뚱이라고 지나 담보네 아라 지에 마뚱나 아라 까투도도스 타마 마 동에 지인바나 담보네 지에 마뚱 와이나 왜디 까투노도스 다 지동 니동 송동로와 아니 산니동 나니동 메만본 정도 동 텐데 차서나 아니 대견론다지 효전에 까카보 차전에 아니 제를 베드락 지디고야 카사칼리디고야 텐데데 차노야 통한도스 텐데 임바 송장 담보 제마 타세도 저비데 동니 조르지도 레서나 거기 단녀그를 다산에 파 담보니는 까샤고야 돼다 소소가 딱 공식 임바 가리나 참말을 자요레스 근데 미두자래라 자원이는 라그메스 소소를 먹어야 리데다 간다 담보니네 파 가장 제고레스야 띵아죠 딜을 자초고도스
And then I think this is really true because, for example, as long as you don't like to drink alcohol, you would be able to stop it, right? But if you start drinking like one time and then another time more, if you keep drinking like 1, 2, 3, then you might become addicted toward it, and then that would be really harmful to your health. So just like that, the very moment when those like negative emotions, if it's anger or attachment or any of those the poisons, as long as the moment like they rise, like at the small beginning, if we would be able to stop them, then that would be really helpful.
되게 다 단단한 저 찬다 알아 타마동에 미둑자 계산데 자원이네 말에스 간다 수포를 뇌야 네 소소르게 미셀을 뇌야 손으로 딘데기 리데 가르 중바이는 간소 까고에 버송자 되게 차네 담보니 까고레세 데레스
And then I'm implying like the my example on drinking alcohol and then smoking and all the things. I do not mean like people who are doing these things are bad. The habit like which it encounter and then the harm towards your health and then which affects your life, which won't turn into a meaningful one. So in that manner, I meant it.
이때는 현대 그티 가르쳐서는 간소 자세 란에 소든 징에다 상주 셈비 쩌발랑이 미지기 따당 제바이나 밀 야와다 두바세 안다바타 예라 체야 존다바타 지 데 야포 인세는 추제냐 제한다바타 데 두자레세는 파 셈카 야와도야 데 펜제 메인사레스 사말라 제와 징송데 레기여 바송자 다 샤주 그 차네 능이 그 차르 디콜로 너거다 디콜로 핑거다스네 사산난다 해고야 디콩게 달라는데 인사레스
And then another thing to add is we practitioner of the 37 practices, we likely do not have that differentiating, like how, oh, they are smoking, they are bad, like these kids are bad-mannered and stuff like that. We don't have that. Their action, if it's harming them, then we would tend to advise them out with the good intention. So we really do not have that differentiating and all those mindsets.
정말 들어진 투지체 안에 brother 코난스 comment 가레트 야요나 곤수 가레 송아야나 소로나스다 곤수 티서 페메시 펜토고도스
I would like to stop here like at the 35th verse and then if any of the brothers and sisters have some comments to add, that would be really helpful.
If I can, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I can just kind of encourage a little bit of discussion here, with 31, we're talking about arrogance. We're talking about conceit. And to be able to recognize that within ourselves, and we're placing that on other people and so on by our thinking that we're so perfect and so on, and we develop that arrogance, that pridefulness. Number 32 is to develop humility, a humbleness. That if we do that, if we kind of sit down from others and help others to rise up and so on, is a very good practice, is a practice of humility, is a practice of humbleness, is a practice of the Bodhisattva. In 33, we're talking about the eight worldly concerns. Everybody should remember the eight worldly concerns: pain and gain and loss, pleasure and pain, fame and disgrace, and praise and blame. So, and then we're also talking about the three wisdom tools that through the six paramitas and so on, we began to develop these wisdom tools of listening, of contemplating, and of meditating. So here they're being called out. And then in the next one, 34, is we're talking about the eight, oh, excuse me, the 10 non-virtues and the 10 virtues. But it's doing it in respect of the harsh speech. But you could take all those other non-virtues and place them into this statement here and see how those non-virtues will pull us down and so on, just like the harsh speech is saying here. And then the last one was the not to have mindfulness, the to allow ourselves to get carried away with our emotions. Soon as we recognize that we are getting angry, that we are getting emotional, that we are getting prideful, that whatever it is, that we are getting attached in our conversation, our working with other people, whatever it is, we should stop it, and take that moment to say, oh, I made a mistake. Let me stop now, not continue the conversation. So, does anybody have experience with any of these things? I think you all do. And I think for the sake of our discussion, for the sake of our conversation, it's important to bring this up. So, would somebody please raise your hand or just turn on your microphone and speak to these things? Okay, well then I'll ask Bernie. He's first on my screen here. Bernie, would you comment on these?
Turn on my audio. Okay, well, yeah, as we finished with the six perfections, we're now talking about more practical advice to me because it's less abstract and it's coming down to the behavior that we do every day. Because for better or worse, these are very common types of behavior that we see in the world. People are criticizing each other and uh, uh, and not pointing fingers at other people and not at themselves, not trying to change their own behavior, but trying to change the behavior of others because criticizing others is always easier and more pleasant than making the changes on their own life. And this is unfortunately very common, and it's the cause of so much controversy and difficulty between people in our daily life. And so this is what we're talking about faults of speech. Faults of speech. So a lot of these things have to do with how we speak and how we relate to other people. And truly, I mean, I've had a lot of difficulty with this myself, I have to say, that it took me a long time to learn how important this sort of behavior is, not to criticize others and to shine the light on your own behavior instead of that. So it becomes important to stop, to change our behavior and turn it around so that instead of focusing our attention on other people, we focus our attention on ourselves and our own behavior and try to improve that, rather than try to improve the behavior of other people. So that's all I have to say about that right now.
Very good, thank you. Yangshin, could you give a translation for Geshe, please?
Yep, thank you. Bernie like this song. Dangan su kare parsing to the sasares. The parsing to the sasajel. The tanda gajing around su tanda kare. To do cheshagyo as the get this was kora kandilo. This practical side when around to nirin gaji chawa dige the language lani yugyo doji dos. Aju pedan dige delia. 아니 가실래나 말아서 미셴바지기 소소라 디 안데 그 미셴발로 꽤 디 펠레라오레스 아 미셴발 규와타가지 탑시타로다 덴데로 체디 펠레라오레스 소소 간라 팝디zam바 아니 디게 페 카보두 슬래샤 아니 톤도 디젤리아 마드레디 카라 셴발라 안데 칙죽 마야레 딘데 디즈간라 시디zam바 간다만다 디페두스 ta male bachikla ta ngaram chiso di nanglo le kharimo kharine sien la maya di le tha che rangi gang la phawdi di tis khakbo ros tu slen tende rosons
ta dinga di anju khya karyasana brother lens ki tande ka ngaram so di chi dil ma dom jabson sansa nga chona chukta ngara khota no
ya numso tikila ngaram so poba thole ro da tende ro gang ngo jimna dires
cheza ati cheza brother lens ki tanda karyasana rangi chowa rangi tagore se ati suso ka ngaja chaya ki chedo suso ka nonchu da suso ka chuen te so ngunzi che gore se tende thore dongji jagwe be chonang du ta kanda tu che unde ma dong japtang de hal lebe ni je bo te che unde che zang an so dong tende ja tu ya de ke chen bo hiware te brother lens la tang bo tu che na shue de ta tene ne ngang so burni ki sonya de ngone thane re tang ngone thane ngarang so 카히 초이 보알라네 세지 특바세 가서 베베 카페라 대요래 대요바나 히 문에 전에다 간다만다 자 냥가 희위 체난 것도 코나 봐줘 냥가 체난 것도 투상 예디히도 가뒤이나 코나 봐줘 투상 희위 예거에 베게 뇽초라디 희위 좀 근데 임바 손자 문에 딩기 초로지 임비 차니 닌 타반에 투제 체스 효인데 처지 예 파지라로 지금
and then before that before moving on to Bernie, I would like to thank the way brother Lensla had stated like all these verses in a really like a short summarized manner, like how he was referring the 31st verse as the arrogance and then the importance of not doing it and stuff like he really had made it in a really beautiful way. So as a practitioner, if we are being able to like rather than learning all these verses like from sentence to sentence, like word to word, if we could be able to put these into like something like this points, then that would be really helpful for our practices as well. And then moving on to Bernie, your point of view is really true. Like I really appreciate the way you stated like how the verses which we discussed today were like more practical. And then I really appreciate like all my brothers and sisters over here, like your practices and then your way of thinking are truly beyond like it's really great. Thank you all.
Continue, brother.
Well, thank you. Larry, you've got your hand up and you were next on my screen, so please speak right up.
Well, I was just going to follow up on what Geshe said about the speech that Charlie Kirk's widow gave yesterday at his memorial. I mean, it was I find it to be a very impressive thing. I never got any, she talked for about 30 minutes and I never got any hatred out of her. All I picked up was lots of grief and lots of love. And she certainly had reason to hate the man that had murdered her husband. But she refused to stoop to that level and let him drag her down to his level. And she ended the speech with by reciting the words of Jesus. His last words when he was on the cross was, "Forgive them, Lord, for they do not know what they do." And she said, as a follower of Jesus, I have to do the same. And so I forgive the man who murdered my husband. And then she had obviously been struggling very hard to keep it all together. And then after she said that, she broke down and started sobbing. And everybody in the stadium stood up and gave her a standing ovation. And I was just really blown away. And I recommend, if you haven't seen it, that you watch it. We talk about all these great things that we ought to do, about not criticizing others and that sort of thing. But I couldn't help it as I watched her give her speech, asking myself, what would I do if I was in her place? Could I behave? Could I behave the way she did? I was just left with an impression that this is somebody who doesn't just read the Bible. This is somebody who lives it. And those kinds of people are really hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yangshin, can you translate that, please?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Leru lagi any gishlagi kasin dango di kong kimedi sungyo aj chiya kalupsa dengi kola ta khare no khare nontila khare
Maso lama watela ta kogi goyang tangi inse da wata.
ya kuyang la dila todo ta kanda kimedi aj chuzu chega aj kalupdi nanglo liya khari thonsla na tingne la do ta
Benzing.
Kunzin la do da kunzin do che mindus mo ya nyangye dan tsewa shada rishas ani kare kongju da kongju mar midil tsipalan da tsipai di kengi mid tsipai kengi lani ani midiga ji na shinchini ma maru do sira tende ma do che tsewa da ani nyangye gi gyunirang andro chini ni kanda manda pe agu che sons ani kanda kemedi aj kalobdi gi pe hangsang sons ani thando khari chensla na kisi nga kemedi ga jisa cha dili na ni gen chetu yunang la shara de pe hangsang ros ngaran so kran so issue ga ji theden ba ji ani bible type di law andro choris law sam main ba che ngus khorata langle la ni mi thonang thon ro das khong gi kalobdi ni ha khu das le tende rosons
Maso tingala nembechi karishwe sena ngaya tanda di brother Alex somba na hin chene nga inji jangu yoba songza sanju diso kechewa diso kaduyi na chi nyaya ke tabshi chigi yos ane de nyamdo le chi goya ke tabshi chigi yos de wo de la subtitles yo di zamane tene lo chene tabshi chigi yos ane de tari yawa da duwa nge ke he hing mes ina mo kecha diso de katurang kecha henjo diso tsama de ngone tanda Alex somba na hi ji ngaya de yapo hege do samsan la jida sano yapo tang do samsa de chona chonza o tene yapo do sam dos jen huba yins dagaran yi tuji ches.
Thank you, Larry, for bringing up the memorial and the talk, because since I'm learning English and then I try to like go into daily newses and then watch these videos and using the subtitle, try to learn new words daily. So I encountered with her speech, and then I was also impressed with the way she did, and then just like Larry was stating, like yeah, she really did great. Like Geshe was also impressed. with her behavior, the way she was able to forgive him and everything.
Temato yenda ngo ke chugo mes korang zu jabjung te so kande imeda te so techal ke ngo chugo mes.
And then like she just knows like the way she her speech and everything, but he really doesn't know the background, like what like Charles Kirk does does and everything. So yeah, he was really impressed with the speech by her.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Alex, you've got your hand up. Can you speak, please?
Thank you, Brother Lynn. What Bernie was saying is also resonated with me, and I consider myself like these last verses as a good reminder for us in our like family life, for example. Like it's kind of interesting that when we like already grow up and, for example, we have children or we become like supervisors or teachers in the classroom or professors, whoever, we accumulate in a habit of kind of in a way criticizing others and suggesting them how to do better, like what the faults are other people making, but you know, initially we want this in a good spirit, but eventually it can become like a habit, and we no longer noticing that this is, you know, what we supposed to do out of love, and it becomes something that we do more like out of habit or because it's just easier to point somebody to their own mistake rather than show how to do things by our own example. And then it becomes a little bit more challenging when, like, for example, we grow even older, and then we now talking to our parents, and our parents become older and they make a lot of mistakes, and they maybe cannot catch up with our modern life, and they have to be helped in a lot of ways, and it's very difficult to not get into the criticize mode, but be more compassionate and be more like patient and maybe like explain things more in detail, sometimes what's needed, or just do things without criticizing, just do things for them. So I find myself that these verses really help me put myself on a better track, dealing with those issues with my elderly parents now, and whoever our friends, you know, too. And
well, thank you very much. Yangshin, can you translate that, please?
Alex ki sunga din dire Bernie nan shin kongge to thanda lalin dige dia nindu zambani ngarang suta niri nangmi nanglo ka ji chwa ke dang ro shira ngarang sulo kare pugu yore ani khandila orta phama yore lan ende do chinia khadu do ne zamba mi shenpa de ya gyönje chere kare ne dil pat le ha dus tangshu go zu du zamba ta gyönje de shi kulung sang bu ro ji ki ni go ro ji de zu yu gyure sang bu gyön ro de ge je dang ro de ina ya ta di khomshi ro ji chani ta jela kulung shu yak po do le ni nde mya chin ta tak pa gyön ro je de le lo ro shin gyönje ding wen twen sha lo tablang da ya 원전은 논주들 파믹도 아니 디젤라 콘솔라 치로 치란로 딜럽네 디고라스 근데 사실 논주디 때는 지기야 텐데랑 강딜 조쇼 드레도 쉐이도스 안통동 아랑서 야 첼 조거레 아니 디강리야 ngaransu phamai dilapa ya gemba chadu du zamba ani mixe ngaran rol chashana ani phamal khara kecha shi du zamba ani shargya khora lamsa khandla orda kyen ro tonga ro she khongro da dende chini ande ngod kan le pa shusha ro sho du dus dende ma do chi dis chi susula khandla or swegom yoe thoni ro chamninji da dembe thoni ro konzula deshera skero chi yana di lega di susu pa chero chi shani digora dende pache until ngo digang du dus len ta kanda manda pe di lalen tharin she sha gyo de chavang ni da pe da yu gyo ro che pen thong bo shu chung sons.
That's all.
Thank you, Alex.
Very good. Thank you. Kunga, could you speak to how this lands on you, what experience you've had with these these admonitions or warnings or points to look at in your life?
Yes, thank you. I guess the first thing that comes to mind is there aren't many bodhisattvas in American politics, because these would be like, if you were an American politician, these would be like what not to do. So it's I feel like that is the biggest challenge, that I value these qualities, I value these values. I feel like that myself and the people that I'm friends with in my life strive to enact these things. And then when you go and you look on the news, you look in social media, and you see what is being put out there, it is like the opposite. And those are the people that have a great amount of power in our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Kongregi entro son study maranso kare arigaji chapsi di nanglo ya dipe mangbodo yores color dila and nyamlen padi la gese la len kare kharle dila la len so de ma gese di supe mangbo yores hajananda dige mancha ngaranso la di khari khari machi la dire doas jamba dige pe kale khakpo la sha ngaran chi so thalam dige na thondu zam patak pa machela dige changma chede gyo roshminde as thanda wondi chini thara
tanda chetanga kungani ma ke soya tela ngone te yos karsa ngone yos tanda ngaran so sitan cheba na chue tang si sing de tis ngone khakare shas kar chena majina ngarang tis ha ko se cheba na 최생의 문에 전에 전부 장샤지가 톤데 왜 내수지가 톤다 생 나노를 강 삼바데다 실류 난주당 땅다나 지바 지장 로고야로 지가디 초고도스 아네 시스디안 티시치 데데 루야게 체도 남생 ten야다 시 넘버 땅다니 대한 카칸도 진 로고요 반다오티 티 대한 ngone jasa jayos te tenda bada chya chodo chigdus la sosta di city calling sing mes ngone tarang res
And then I truly agree with Kunga Nima's point of view. Like from what I see, I also feel like religion and then politics, they both should be like two different ways. Because religious practices are always like crystal clear thing, right? Whatever your mind has, then you put it out and then you practice in a way. And then politics, I really don't know much, but I feel like politics are more like you have like a different intention under what you are stating, something like that.
And since we brought up the Charlie Kirk funeral, I really wasn't familiar with this. I looked online to see what was written about it, and what struck me was that I understand what you're saying about the spouse saying, hate doesn't end hate, which is basically from the Dhammapada. Hate doesn't end hate, only love does. This an unalterable law. That's right from the Dhammapada. And then Trump comes on right after hers and says, I don't agree with that. I hate my enemies and I hate my hate. And our president goes on to espouse the exact opposite of what everyone is applauding her for saying in her speech. And so the fact that the president is immensely popular with people who consider themselves great Christians, it's a hard duality for me to adjust in my mind. It just becomes really depressing to think about how people can put aside certain values or be blinded by certain values, I guess. Thank you.
안zu 이따 탄다 콩가지디 당고 양해가지디 기야 kil레도 삼바니 tondo ta mimangsa gi shede di khara kemedi gi kalu sambona re din re ngang chu ta khara issue ga chulu da dembe thoni kalu ro na phajola chamyinje da din re gang shi du zamba khongdu da din re malang ya re phajola andro di gang shi du anjeli yang ngang chu ji khara sinjin gi ni khara nga khonggi sungyo tizul keche lingmes nga ngarang gi ani dawle ya 가이메 안직치메 니치메는 다 시단로는 딱한다 뭐기 세사교 디가지 독초서 뭐랑 도셔서 아니 원디치니 다 덴데로 통도자 뭔치나 니게 이슈와 지버지 꺄레 이나다 취 지기에 계자레 이나디 땅오 빠드만다도 니 통레도 잠바 페디 셈바교도 스툴라샤 미나 통데 미기 엔데 따술로가로도 데 도아슬렌 덴데송스
나서 라스라스 다라이 인타 체산디 콩리게티 차산지 스도 라스 샤마진 야보도
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Kunga brother. And Brendan, could you speak, please?
Thank you. Yes, I'll speak briefly. It's amazing how quickly the news cycle moves in this country right now. And there was something else in the news cycle that we've probably forgotten a few months ago, but there was an individual who became a public figure when they were humiliated, when they were caught doing something perhaps they shouldn't be doing on camera. And for me, that was an exercise in compassion, because there was a great desire to attack this person. And when I was asked what I thought, I said, I have compassion for this person because marriage can be hard and difficult, and life is hard and life is difficult. And who am I to judge? I don't know the circumstances. I know that this person's being very humiliated right now, and hopefully eventually the news cycle will change, and it does, and this person will stop being humiliated. So, and it just got me thinking about when we're constantly othering and constantly being involved in duality. If you're old like me, you might remember there was this whole series of movies in which these awful crimes were committed against innocent people, but it was okay in the end because the good guys got to take revenge on the bad guys. And just, what does that say about our culture when this is the way we entertain ourselves? And it's in its most extreme way, this can lead to mass hysteria, such as the Salem witch trials of the 1600s. And I think that there's this vindictiveness, there's this anger that we want to other people. And I think that what we've been considering, meditating on tonight, is an antidote to that. So I don't mean to sound self-righteous, but those are just the thoughts that have come to my mind as we've been talking tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kongi karsungsla na di songs da tanda ngarang so ji sangyu re sargu chilam di yama kora khortang ro de pe hansan re da jula sha tanda ya roji na tanda mal nyen lam salam se she tu dos an tondo da ka she khong le ya ni mi ji ga ni ji so chalan la kara 간다만다 안드로 치니 지소 사람 야 콜페 맘베다 안드로 차레 슈 게가 지로 차인서로 나 원디 차드 잠바니 콩레야 원디 두qabla 카리야 부총슬나 잠닌제 냠리체라 야부로 총송 스카치나나 미 셴바디 아니 나랑 창사로 겨워레 미세지 겨워레 카리네 강에 테시기 유저바 수수 카레라셔 미 셴바디 따당로 안드로 따지 자시아로 디졸 톱당 요 말에 또 송에셔 가잖아 바디라 카리네 강이로 조시고레스 안가랑 스톤도 bat tatanda 공가다 혼수 숨겨난 시행 알람수디 강니 좀 미치빠치빠이냐 따출로가로가 니스로디 텐디도 가리네 니스
네네.
원디도 삼바 다 덴로디 빠드 미슬 테디도스 아니 페셔스랑 알람수 테모로지 따위니 알람수가지다 만조아지 디기돌은 땅안수 테모디게 대양 안졸티 스키우로 퉁고라 니가 브링갈 아니 페셔스나 테모로지 나울리나 아니 미 야가디 타마타마딜라 아니 미두가디 세드 잠바양 안조에 되어슈 강아이로 쉬어라
네네.
롤도 원 카라야 간다 만다 안드로 통고도 승원시나다 콩트레 돌라니야 딱간다 트링가지 디 냠렌디게 상마기 아니 알라다 삼노도 카레강 땅주스라나다 덴데 도토니야 원디 간라 야고치니 삼노 야고 땅주송스 아니 원디 야고 도송도송스
라스라스. 먼저 배바 카페 주어래. 저 송줄라 말다 메 송줄라 삼바 송줄. 저 송줄라 라고 조주세. 단조 세난다 파주 세난다 랑고 세난다. 오 테페지 랭그레스 덴다보다 지어레스.
And then with Brandon's like comment after that, there is also a Tibetan saying like on the duality, like how they'll be like if 30 people have 30 different minds, they would like then 30 cows would have 60 different horns, right? So something similar to this one.
Yeah, lasso.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brendan. And Zara, we'd like to hear from you. Do you can you speak what's on your mind?
Yes, thank you. I've been listening to everyone's comments, and I really like the practicality as we're winding down. And one of the things I thought about as I'm near like family and listening to not to speak or point out other people's negative faults. I'm interested to know if anyone would comment if someone is speaking harshly negatively to you, almost like instigating, since we're talking about practicality, is it okay just to walk away? So like if you can't find kind words or anything to say, is it okay just to leave that negative interaction without saying anything and just walk away, just from a practicality? I'm thinking of as holiday season comes and, you know, situations with loved ones and dear ones, we're close around people, I'm thinking about things come up, and is that okay to do as a lay person who's trying their best? Can you just walk away and just say bless you and just or whatever in your mind and just walk away? And maybe you want to say something back defensively, but you have too much skill now to do that, to speak harshly and to think of that person as a bodhisattva in training, but they don't know what they're doing
It's
yet.
an excellent question. We put that to Geshe, please.
Anderson, zaragi kara ta thanda kongi samado da tindagang leju samba ta thanda nganzu mishembalia ani manju ma shedolan tindi rosungla ta tikzupuda nakbon de masungla ju samba ani ngaran ta thanda gongse ra dige sangwal leju samba pimpingya da nyasa andro tudu zamzam ani khonju gi chu ande chiaga ji kido 아니 소소기 콩줄랑니 가래 팔린로네 마디야 디차시라 원디기 야미당니 조샤나 디기로스
테테랑 난 냠네 따다들난데 샤스 투지체스 데디커서라 자세 정보 쇼와라다 단단 가란소 무초 통메장보 콘남버서 가르송레스나 소칸나 간주 마주 랍 데디 팔라나 펜도 멘조 차도나 희나기 대표선의 송여레스 힘도나히 가야 말을 송거레스 간다 아니 데다 지제 단도 쇼지네 까담게 단다 라우리 타파다 나란초 로종 시게마 로종 체여레 까담게 라마테서 가르 송건데서나 미망보여서는 소소 나들 따기따기 제 송거도스 맘비나네 나라 따시네 따시네 소소 깨자 가르시기도 따지제 간주본주 시행로군도는 맛이 샤슈송은 드레송여레스 맘비나네 나라따 기본도데 생라따스데 기본도데 잠바네야 상 간주본주데 맘보 코고여서레스 미 간주본주 땅네게 근데 임버송자 기본데데 잠바네 상로 강주 뭐죠 땅거 되에 수소야 전바다 희인게 따기 제 송거요 레스. 간다 자라기 송바데 넬 캐바지레 다디 다랑 내려스 자차자.
Zara Gishi stated that he truly agrees with you, like not reacting with them, like not telling them anything back. That's really great. And then even the great scholar like our author Muchu Thome Sampo, and then other scholars like Shanti Dewa, they also stated in other great books like how when the other person is criticizing you, instead of telling them anything like back, just stay like a log, like a wood log. So this implies like do not say anything back if you think the other person is not going to do anything. So rather than that, it's better to just like stay there and then just listen it, don't tell anything. And then also many other like great teachers, they have also stated this thing like be mindful of your speech when you are in a crowd. And then be mindful of your own mind, like your thoughts and mind when you are alone. So if you are alone, you should check your own thoughts just to like double check so that you yourself is not overthinking the situation sometimes. And then when you are in a crowd, you should be mindful of your speech so that it won't harm others while you are just talking.
The teacher ngi tangi tsiji chosam mambu nane mambu nane ngala ta jibun du di sen la ta se di this chode na ya po yung do so chashan ti pen to borashas.
And then Gishi stated that he used to recite these two verses, like how be mindful of your own like your speech when you are in a crowd. Maybe there's a better translation on this verse, but it's something similar to this. Like be mindful of your speech when you are in a crowd, and then be mindful of your own thoughts when you are alone. He said these are really helpful, and then he used to keep reciting these like as a reminder to himself.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. There's something that comes to my mind, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something to the effect that to realize what it is that I can do and to do it, and then to realize what it is that I can't do and don't try to do it. But to know the difference between those two is to create some kind of a balance, that you're not creating negativity. Does anybody remember exactly how that saying goes? Does that ring a bell with anybody?
It does with Bernie.
Bernie? Your microphone's muted if you're trying to speak. Well, we still don't hear Bernie.
Yeah, I don't know. Could you say that once more? I didn't comprehend it.
It's something to the effect of, to recognize what it is that I can do, and I should do it, but to also recognize what it is that I can't do and don't try and push it. And
Well,
then to know the difference between those two things.
Oh, that's the famous prayer that God grant me the serenity to do those things that I can't remember it exactly, but grant me serenity to change what I can't change, not worry about what I can't change, and the serenity to know the difference.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the prayer exactly, but it's the prayer that Alcoholics Anonymous say.
Oh, okay. Can you translate that for Geshe, please?
Yeah, I think it was St. Thomas Aquinas.
Did he say that originally? Really?
I think it's been accredited to him.
God grant me I can't
wisdom,
remember
the wisdom to know what I can do, and the wisdom to know what I can't do, and the difference between the two.
Let me see if I can find it online.
And then Kunga has his hand up. You're muted.
Yeah. So I just wanted to go back to Zara's original question. And
Well, if you don't mind, let me finish this with what I was, because I was getting on to a thought here and a stream of consciousness. So and then we'll come back to you if that's okay. The thing I wanted, the additional thing I wanted to say, and maybe can you translate that for Geshe?
Okay, I've got the prayer here if you want the whole thing correctly. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
공리기 단다 신뢰로시도 아니 근쇼기 가랑알라 디 간들러 가리 가리 나기 치투에 유교디 임바 수수 또 투야다 아니 딜 치투야시 안 가리 나기 치마투야 이나 아니 디 치마투야레샤 줄니야 간들러 간다만다 안지로 치니니 아니 셰바디 나우로 나운줄 텐데 신뢰 셔레사
예
고로 디스세
사바타는 체바타 추경이라 냥바타 다기 징이 찐치바테야 소반제도 소세야죠 띠나
not sure. Yeah, Gishi also kind of got
거르스나 말다 티거스 거르스나 니기 현조 때나라 한도 하순조도 tö바 차순조도 야나 만상조도 근데 가르 중바이나는 저건 제로 제시 왔다디
근데 말이지.
테테테테 키마스타 데 지르 텐데 콜로스크 치레도
인지지가 지르시.
야야 되게 막 델타 초지르 치드 수 타오르 치스
Yeah, I kind of explained it to Gishi, and then he requested to send it in the group so that he can take a look over to the words, but he kind of got it. So Lensla, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, Geshe. So the point I want to get to is that I do not think that politics and Dharma are mutually exclusive. I think the problem in politics is we don't have enough Dharma. So whether it's Dharma or whether it's Christianity or whatever, but it's the moral ethics, it's the correct behavior and so on like that. And I choose to keep myself connected to a point where I read enough to know what's going on, but not enough to contaminate me and get me angry or anything like that. I want to know if somebody's going to say something good, and I want to know if people are continuing to say things bad and so on like that. And I think, for me, that's kind of a healthy thing. And I like to Zara's point, I know when to walk away, and I'm very happy to walk away, in conversation that's not very good. Some of the confusing part becomes when people are saying things that seem reasonable and seem logical and seem helpful, but in their actions, they're actually supporting and creating great fear and anger and confusion, and there's a duplicity in what they say. And you got to understand sometimes where they're coming from and what their goals are. So that's a trick. I mean, it's very difficult to know what's right. It would be wonderful to say that what's happening in the world today, what's happening in the government today, is going to be a great thing. And many people are going to benefit for a very, very long time. But if we look at history and we see a pattern of the things that are being said today and the things that are being done today are things that have been done in history that resulted in great calamity, great terror, great fear, great harm to a great many people. So I think we need to keep ourselves connected to the politics to a point to where when we have the opportunity to say something and to make a difference, that we can take advantage of that, but at the same time, not to get ourselves so involved that we get corrupted by it.
Thank you. That's like 가르송스나 단도 추스니가 카가리 라이들 켈링 메스 녜다는 니가 냠도 송데로 신냠도 팅레네 딕사레스 가자 단다 안가는 소아지 첩시 디게들이야 디식 딱 칸젤로 야고 메교로다 되게 금세 상마 가시는나 아니 콘줄라 취엘라니 칸젤로 다 가능한 수 이슈레 낭취레 카리네다 취조가지 디 코도디 야고 메자 아원디 친엔디로 레삼그두스 아니 디젤이야 자라가지 디가 파 촘루디 잠바 아니 ngaransu khadu susuda mishenpa digi susol nakbudore kareini tsingyempa do pijutangyo na ani susugi khadu dogo yome do da ani khadu dodu zamba ani kyuchini dolan ya dende che yores taina khari tischi gothoma do di che dulana ani mishenpa digi susol su kandilor da mishenpa digi susol geja do di shedu zamzam shu gyumsen yogyo da dempa da jigyo riglamdan demba rokeja shidu ina yang konsugi chaju di yang district kandelor kanda ta khani shia ga di che ningus langle la tartan di dan disyam mithumba ro le disam ba ni ondi di chena digres la sha ani tana digres ani ta ngaran su ga ji chapsi nang re mi kandelor ta 단다파 기시 게럽 로규 돌 파주나 또 단다 가는 수기엔 치디에 도스타 디게 딩에 말란데 중타교로 디게 양자 연계 치디교로 스투스 아니마 단다 덴드로 중대교 디즈이 겐게니 가는 수 타병 오돌라니야 니 안디도에 아니 빼망부로 디주 아니 가는 수다 간다 만다 찹실이야 디체고도스 찹시다냠 디스테와 냐르고도스 이나야 아니 카라 dewa nyar andro chidi zamba ani chure kharine andro ya di ngosla lendo taral district keben ro le ya dos en kisi pa chapsi ya zuya shuk che chana ani ya tanda da chesim ti suyego di ani ma cheshi mar dwel ni saringi sungyo na shi ma cha si ras
be mesia pason ta tagara tuchang
Thank you, Brother Lance. That's really nicely interpreted.
Thank you, Yangshen, for that translation. I know it was a lot, and all the other things that we've been saying. So thank you very much for your dedication to do this for our benefit. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
So Brother Kunga had something that he wanted to bring up again.
Thank you. So Zara was talking about the example. When she gave the example, I kind of felt like she was talking about, family members and getting together at family situations, dinners and things like that, where family members might have different political views, and that what's a good way to respond to that, and is walking away a valid way? Would that be
yes, 100%.
accurate?
That is something that happened in my life recently in the last 48 hours, and I was trying to be skillful and apply these practices about harsh words. I wanted to go off on the person, and in that moment, as you're saying, was it skillful for the action to be just to walk away because I didn't know what else to do. And I'm curious if that's a practical part of what we're reading about. Can you just walk away without it being this like negative karmic event? Is silence and walking away skillful without accumulating non-virtue?
It's better than responding with harsh words, certainly. I think what I've read is it's better to not respond in kind if someone is being really negative. I think it's if you can maintain the relationship in a way and maybe divert the conversation to a subject matter that you can both speak about more peacefully, that's like the best, right? But if your buttons are pushed, it's better to walk away. That's the best you can do. That's the best. Yeah, that's what you should do. I think hopefully over time, as we build our practice, we'll be able to see that person, is speaking from a position of suffering, and that we can maybe engage them in a conversation about that suffering in a way that's more supportive of them. because walking away is not really that supportive of them. They may not know what they say that made you walk away, or it just might make them mad that you walked away, or make them feel like satisfied, which is it's just pretty bad too. So thank you.
Kunga, I think if I could just for to make it like a closed communication loop, if someone is openly slandering you in front of other people, right, like at a dinner table, like saying very harsh, unkind words about you, like say like just going after you, defaming you or libel, is the best thing to do just to walk away. If they're saying, "Oh, you're an idiot," you're like these really harsh, negative things. Do you just sit there and take it, right? Like, because that's a negative. Do you just sit there and let the person go off on you, and while others are watching, or do you just say, please stop talking, but they're still instigating that negative interaction even when you're silent? Can you just walk away? Like, can you just get up and leave and say,
Well, let me point something out. Look at 14 and 15 of these 37 practices, because it goes right to the point.
Yeah, I was just going to point that out myself.
It's not easy, and sometimes, you can't have an intellectual conversation with somebody, based on your logic or their logic, if you think it's the wrong logic, whatever. But what you can send to them are your heart thoughts, your prayers, and to send that compassion out from your heart. I think we were talking about that recently last time. Maybe we were talking about that what is compassion? What is empathy? What is compassion? That was a point that we talked about quite a bit last time. And the compassion is to be able to not be contaminated by what the subject is, but yet you have this love, you have this wisdom, you have this offering, this dedication that you're making for the benefit of others and so on. The empathy is when you get caught up in it and you lose your compassion. You get swamped by the emotion and you become empathetic with their suffering. So there's two different things. We need to not lose our compassion, I think. And maybe we ought to bring Geshe into the conversation, get him up to date on what has been said.
단다 공가 개인 자라 긴가 컨트롤다 나미 레지 긴가 잠잠 수수간라니 깨자시 두 잠바 컨트롤다 독자로다 안드로 시나 로스간 미상마 칼라로사 디두 잠바니 퀸주로 체지야 아니 미차장로 드는 덴드로 시두 잠바니 또 자라기 티워조로 디레샤다 콩도사니 팔린로나니 야구민도 슬래샤 카잔데 디베 차서로스 안 딜레하 langni droshana digirwes ya langni droshana ya bishamba di kulung shuna pudoina hangi ko mithama khala sasa dikida ta khola mambeshta ani kolangni drosuna ni kasu de ke siro langni drani ya mishamba dila cancel roje chasa ta langyo aj chawa digen shamba dila pa dikpa chen bo dansa wando chayona yana khandalor yana andishin langai di susu yegyo roche yagu roche chasa ngimi mangbu masa ajuli ta kanda manda andi rokap dela ta kisi dikab indu ni khari chagores lani andi drosha de andi stugja roshta ondi ta khari chagore lani wondi reshta
re ana tel kozo yenda ke songso lendo
계속 마소 라린 줍시다 정아디 ngaransu mitso ki dola andro jik sunga rosha chamningsi ta ore gegen zingore do da jindechiya thoz ore dola 줍시다 정아
re
on dizu kanla tana dolen sungres
re
islal kesuna ya diga
re tati ngalati khya yo da ti kan pena chezang 쇼진의 미티기 삼바디지 하고 도와주고 도스만서 바쇼 거기 콜라 파 난주 간제지 땡바이나 거기 최신사를 해야도 지여와 콘자사를 해야도라 지여와 다 야슈의 콘자야 타히지 제고레스 코만자야 지여와
자르나 카수메스야 라고라
오야 코마디 카종야스라 갈로르자 벤지 다 간다만다 제 단단가서 거기 해야 되게 가서 강해지 때로 지고라 다지 뚜뚜자 땅도 지고라 데 뚜뚜데 마땅해 체도다 탑시데 간데 지고사르티 아버지 땅고레스 델파베 타히된 탱고그레스 근데 인데 간서 제장 그 장로 시부 땅샤스 문에 다네 버샤 바이나야 코 두르도야 콜 마구바차 코 한바 차르도야 롱 차르도야게 닌가 여러봐 야 가야 말라와지 니에지 두리 잡다 코 카메 코 단다 셈바 최신 두고 먼저 되게 잼베기 코 강주마 유시엔 거라 산에 니에네 칼라데 문트인데 산에 근데 전에 아는 거니 휴바도 지제토야게 타히지 제바이나 나무 참아야 추만로야 근데 야와지 연아 스타틱급도 둘 야마 딱왜 빼게 첨버리스 딱게 체크난 게 체크도 수소 콘로 마사야 되게 체크드레스
Okay. Geshe stated that with Zara and Kunga's point, he believed that the other person who is like criticizing you or the family member, we should be able to understand like in a way like their intention. If we get that, maybe like if they are being like too annoying just because they want some like an apology from your end or something from your end, then the best solution would, if we could give it to them, then everything would be like in a peaceful way, right, where the dinner would go smoothly. So the most important thing is us being able to understand like the intention of that person's, and then in a way if we would be able to make that person like calm, then that would be really great. And then whether like the other person is criticizing you or in whatever manner it could be, the most important for us like as a practitioner, the most important thing is not to get angry on that person. As long as we could be able to take it, then try to take it as much as possible so that things would end in like a peaceful manner. Yeah, something like that. Because standing up and then walking away could be considered again disrespectful, or that might be like another something else. So yeah, just don't get angry and then try to tolerate.
ngati manchewade 가르상교에서는 다 수수수 샤워 두당다 제당다 레당 주요로 와히 때깔 가르상교에서는 I don't care what other people think about me and what other people say about me. 가르잖아 수수수수랑 타주 진주지 수수 강로야지 수수 타주 제야도 수수 남주다 dem비 돈에 타주제 대마도지 파효되게 림볼라서나 수소 린로야게요 말에 통통라서나 수소 통로야게요 말에 파효기 치디게 수소 조조게 따요 말다 간다 근데 레찰링이 여러와히 어떤데 여러마도지게 다 린통게 따면 와인 뭐 손자 내가 지요 말에 상탄한테 된토에 타히지 지기였어.
And then Geshe stated that try to think like just like how he stated he doesn't care like what others, because the decision which you make or the critics which they are pointing out, that like whatever decision you have made, it's because with your own wisdom you have thought about it and then somehow like you made the decision, right? So it should be right in a way. And then even if the other person is telling like this and that, it won't make any changes on your decision. If the other person is saying you are tall, it won't make you taller, right? If the other person is saying you're short, it won't make you short. It's just that they are like judging you and then they are criticizing it out, so it won't make any changes on yourself. So just ignore the word that they are using and then try to focus on your own self.
야 미까지 탑케바 효도스 배나 최시진게 개장다 같은데 당분이네 뭐뭐 종사다 상추 문팅바 요사도 원래 추는 링금도스 안에 튜션다고다 신용그 차니 개제시야나 같은데 원리 양 가시게 개시 최시진게 개자든 링소나 가시게 양 남주다 뎀베 코네 탑 키보지가 토네 초글라인다 버든 데네라고 현다지 칸파 티로고도스 데네 제토나 지 겐센지레샤스.
And then also another thing is if the other person is like bringing out a very sensitive topic and then start criticizing, whether it's you or others, try to change the topic, like by taking it and then like take it in a way and then laugh on that topic and then divert it, like change the topic so that nobody would be harmed. Yes.
뭐 드늘어 신심했다. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry, I see your hand up, but let's let Zara respond to what Geshe has said, what has been said so far, and then we'll come back to Larry, please.
I just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate that. And this is for Geshe. I was also thinking when people do this in front of small children, like that's one of my concerns too about these sorts of negative interactions that children are watching. And sometimes I'm thinking of if I just walk away, because I don't want, like a 6-year-old or 5-year-old to witness this anger and animosity. Like if it's a repeated pattern that always continues, not like a one-time thing. So that was one of my things too. I didn't mention the context of who the observers are, like versus just a one-to-one private maybe conflict. But this is very good advice he's given. Thank you.
Dislagi ganda manda di sungyo dilape ka sung tujinang ani labja pe sangborishas and tondo kharish sungailana ta tanda niegajiro niedang dil chashana ani ande shede di dendoin tondo kanjalo kising ngegi da pa drosha re pa len dulo linda duindo al nyendi ni da ta dingi len yuen le tugu do da sangwai de kunjule mikbe logyo do den si do astro len tendesus. Thank you.
Gary, Larry, did you want to make a very short statement? We're at the end of our time.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I've had a lot of practical experience with this very issue. I used to live with somebody who was the most negative person I've ever met. I mean, he never had anything good to say about anybody. And from time to time, some of his negativity would be directed at me. And over time, I just got to be looking back, he was my teacher. I just got very good at times at just simply ignoring what he said. What I learned was the old childhood saying that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So I would just ignore what he said, and then would just let it just go out into the universe. And frankly, I felt sorry for him. I thought, well, if he treats other people that badly, imagine how he treats himself, because I know myself, I always am harder on myself than I am on others. So
okay.
Basically, what I learned was you don't have to react to anything. You can just ignore it.
Good advice. Thank you. All right. So, Geshe, does Geshe have any last comments that he'd like to make? And we didn't get finished. So the next time we get together, we'll continue our conversation with the next two verses, 36 and 37, and wind things up. Does Geshe have anything that he'd like to say?
Jemal Linsindile ya sumsodu da sobdun cheneni di chachi gostanda chubi gosinzada. Ani Larry ki todo Quran ki kharishin slana ta ganda manda mi shembachi ki susol kharila dine pa react and pa lenchi lo maresin yametang shaya di pe agores.
Tanda di Larry ki somba na hi nganso namju ngi miji imba sonza tundi le tagores nganso samala tundi zama di gogodas. Tende imba sonza tundi zambu thya menjo jire dona khani keja ina kagorela lapek lane ina kagores ta tingune tarares tujiche tamitaje.
Thank you, Larry. And then I'm adding this point to over to Larry's. Since we all have like wisdom or certain sort of a mind to think, right? So as long as what we need is that good result, right? Like a happy outcome. So if we think like if us reacting or us ignoring to that certain topic is not bringing anything, then the best thing is not to like ignorance. Yeah, ignoring is the best solution.
다디 탐에 타주 휴야지랑요. 저런부터 가두이는 송대에게 나란존 로와 셈제 탕제 참마데 대원도 바 진송레 동에만도 바 진송레세 칡되게다 오늘 전에 나점이 연하면 칡디스 칡디가 가르 속 두고도 세나 대원도 바 진송이 동에만도 바 진송이 세도 나란주 신고 차네 집바 임반다오지 데 가르쳐 그랬다. 가르이나면 차상 레와 히브 제고야다. 야위쇼는 냥도 히분 로고야나 보데 두이쇼는 가르이나 도고야다. 되게 츠디 짜고도 상고도.
And then another thing is a statement from His Holiness Dalai Lama, like we all sentient beings, like we need happiness and we all don't want suffering, right? So similar to this, everybody needs happiness. So even if the other person who is trying to criticize you, that one is also looking for happiness. So like forgive them, ignore them.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for your patience and listening and participation in this. And Geshe, would you recite Dekorma prayer, dedication prayer, please?
Thank you. Shanse tang chuje hyapa tang jeso yarang kuhi sowan de gewa zhungze dagi jasaba tamje zobi shanchu shengo. Thank you.
Om, ah, hom. Om, ah, hom. Om, ah, hom. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next time. And this has been a very, very, very good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Very, very good.